levels of middle or high school. Picture the students running around, lockers slamming, and consider what classes they're going to. Perhaps they're running to English or art excited, or perhaps they're dragging by, complaining about last night's math homework. All too often, there is an alarmingly high drop in students' interest in mathematics at the secondary level. Governments, researchers, and school systems alike have thought why this happens, but one commonly overlooked factor is social stigmas in math education. As a math major and math tutor, I can speak firsthand to the effect these stigmas have and how they last. So today I'm going to talk to you about 3 common forms that these stigmas take, why they are detrimental, and how they spread. These forms are the perception that it is okay to be bad at math, gender misconceptions, and labels. Most of us have heard the phrase at some point in our lives, "It's okay, math just isn't your thing." So now I'm going to talk to you about how this perception is spread and why it's detrimental. First place a child learns about math is in their home. From the time they're learning to count, they're building their mathematical habits. And as early math homework comes home, many times as the student struggles, then the parents will kind of just say, "Well, it's okay, maybe math's not your thing." But this can be really detrimental because the value a child places on mathematics will determine their effort put in and their ultimate success. According to researchers Chinar, Crescenti, and Roy in their 2007 article, Relations Among Competence Beliefs, Utility Value, Achievement Goals, and Effort in Mathematics, quote, "Parents exert a strong influence on their children's value regarding mathematics, while the nature of teachers' influence also exerts its impact on students' self-perceptions," end quote. In other words, the teacher can influence a child's confidence, but it's the parents who set the value on how much mathematics is valued. The school community can play a large role in either reinforcing these habits or changing detrimental ones. According to Stein and Smith in a 2010 book, Mathematics Curriculum Issues, Trends, and Future Directions, quote, "Student achievement in mathematics can be predicted by the nature of classroom environment." This means that if a child is told at a young age that it's okay to just be bad at math and they accept it, that they will probably carry this belief with them for the rest of their lives. Why is this detrimental? Because beyond the mathematics field, there is a number of jobs, including the sciences, medicine, psychology, and even music, that require mathematical skills. And if a student feels that they cannot learn these skills, they will exclude themselves from these jobs. So how do we fix this stigma? Lisa Derrick, in her 2013 study, Constructing Confidence and Identities of Belonging in Mathematics at the Transition to Secondary School, argues that this stigma boils down to a cycle of confidence and competence. She says, quote, "By encouraging students to act confidently, regardless of any internal feelings such as uncertainty, we may prompt them to judge themselves as being mathematical," end quote. Society has destroyed these students' confidence, but it is up to us to rebuild their confidence and therefore promote confidence. Now that we've seen how society promotes a perception that it is okay to be bad at math, we will turn to how society inherently views males as being better at mathematics than females. We often consider this a non-issue today. However, a study conducted as recently as 2013 in Victoria, Australia by researchers Forgaz, Jackson, and Ladair, and published in the Australian Journal of Teacher Education, found that 9.8% of society feels that boys are better at math than girls, and a whopping 63% said that they do not know. Only 22.8% said that they feel that they have the same ability level. This gets reinforced in classrooms as teachers who have these beliefs feel that they need to call on boys more and give them more attention, sometimes unconsciously. This is also promoted in our toys, as often scientific kits and toys that are similar to that get advertised more to boys, and you don't see girls in the advertising. This stigma largely stems from historical precedents, as a time when women were only allowed to be secretaries in the math and science fields. And it has often led to school systems leaving the historical female role models out of the textbooks, such as Marie Curie, Emmy Noether, and Katherine Johnson. So how do we fix this stigma? We can encourage the young girls in our lives, and we can promote their mathematical ability, and we can also hold out the female role models that have come before them and let them see those. So now that we have seen how society promotes a perception that it is okay to be bad at math, and we have seen how they stigmatize women's mathematical ability, we will turn to a social stigma that I'm sure many of you all are familiar with, and that is labels such as geek and nerd. Think back to that hallway I had you enter earlier. Among the social groups, there is one that is slightly ostracized from the rest, and this is the group that is often labeled as geeks or nerds. The label geek or nerd is often starting as a derogatory term in the 6th or 7th grade, and many students would seek to avoid this group at all costs, and yet this is where mathematically competent students are often placed. The secondary level is where social acceptance becomes a crucial part of identity, and yet in one 2013 study by Barth, Guadingo, Rice, McCollum, and Smith titled "The Role of Social Support in Students' Perceived Abilities and Attitudes Towards Math and Science," this is found to be the age where social acceptance of mathematics in parents, students, and teachers decreases. This shows that this is truly a social issue and one that we can help fix if we support the young people in our own lives. The fear of labeling is often made more complicated by schools' use of ability tracking. Ability grouping often is detrimental to students because it places them in a category of remedial, average, or advanced. And this can either place them in a feeling of being remedial without hope of improvement, the advanced nerd, or maybe even just average without an incentive to try harder. As early as 1992, the Virginia Department of Education showed that ability grouping unfairly stereotyped students and caused them to enter tracks as early as the 8th grade that did not allow them to take classes that they needed for certain majors, such as calculus. And yet this is still common practice today. If the mathematical narrative is ever going to change, then we must fight for these practices to change. But we must also tell the young people around us that it is okay to break the mold. It is okay to be considered a geek or a nerd. In conclusion, research shows that students lose interest in mathematics at the secondary level and that this is often due to social stigmas. 3 forms that these stigmas can take are the perception that it is okay to be bad at math, gender misconceptions, and labels. The world needs a generation of mathematically competent students. Imagine what would happen if we lived in a world where every child could reach their full potential. What new innovations would we have? What diseases could be cured? In a world where most jobs require mathematical skills of some sort, we owe it to these students to remove these barriers to their learning. We owe it to the next young men and women who could become the next Albert Einstein, Katherine Johnson, or Emmy Noether to create a society where they can flourish. How many young minds have been turned away because we have allowed these stigmas to take root? Will you join me in keeping it from happening again? Thank you.